Louie C. the Mayor checking in. What is going on, my people? Listen, man, I done told y'all it's real crazy. I told y'all we was in a movie and now we out of the movie. Unfortunately, we graduated to Netflix and now we're on episodes and we still not out. This is episode number 2. So welcome to the podcast. First thing I need y'all to do is hit the notifications right over here. And for those of y'all watching worldwide on the YouTube, hit the subscribe button. We're going to take all questions today. Shout out to FloridaKeysEnergy.com. Lawyer for all accidents in the Keys. If you have an accident on a moped, scooter, or car, FloridaKeysEnergy.com, 302 Southern Street. Them boys are going to take care of you. And the #1 doctor worldwide in America, Dr. Burrows, at Advanced Urgent Care Key West Marathon in Key Largo. Get your free COVID-19 testing done. It's free. Some exceptions apply, but you know, it's a long wait out there, so make sure you call ahead. So right now, man that taught me how to do it, this is the pioneer, the big timer, been doing it for a long time, patriarch of Duval Street, Mr. Mark Rossi. How you doing, sir? How's everything?
I'm doing pretty good there, Mr. Rock. Yeah. I can't complain. Life is good.
Okay, well, I see today you pulled up on the podcast and you've been working today, boy. You got a lot of, you said it's hot out there.
A lot of sun and I'm 20-some miles on the scooter today.
Yeah. Well, I know you move around on that scooter because I know, unlike other owners, you like to see what's going on the street. You don't like to be in the office all day.
You can't live in the office. You got to be on the street to find out what the man is and what's going on.
Yeah, and me and Mark, we know each other for a long time. And I respect Mark. A lot of people don't know anything about this man. So, Mark, for people that have no idea about you and who you are, what you're about, can you just please give them an intro about yourself?
Well, I've been a bar owner down on Duval Street for over 38 years. Vice mayor for 12 years in the city, 11 and a half years, 12 vice mayor, city commissioner, businessman, big member of the military here, supporter, Chamber of Commerce, everything, business, big pro business.
Okay, and let me ask you this. I believe you started in Key West, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, as a cook. Is that correct?
I started less than a block and a half away from here when the county jail was over on Whitehead Street. Gotcha. So let me tell you, it was in the early 80s and Key West was an extremely different town.
You know what's funny? We had good old Giannis on the show yesterday talking about cruise ships. And Giannis said that he was riding on a bicycle and his wife almost hit a dog that was sleeping. And then he said, you know what? That's how it used to be on Duval Street. Dogs were so peaceful down there that they slept on the street. So that's not a good sign when you ride and dogs are sleeping. I mean, we're in tough times down here. So listen, we're going to get to meats and potatoes. So what I need y'all to do, any questions that y'all got, comments or whatever, come on in on the podcast. Also tonight, 7 o'clock, WEOW 927. We going in. I got my man Bill Bravo filling in for me on the MCN. But the show is strong from 7 to 9. So make sure you tune in, and also on iHeartRadio. So Mark, let's just get to the meats and potatoes.
Let's go to the meat and potatoes.
We're going to make it happen.
Let's make it well done.
So I'm going to ask Mark the serious questions, and anybody can ask a question. Just be respectful. You know, we don't tolerate disrespect personally on anybody out here. So make sure y'all tighten up and be on point. So the first one I got for you, Mr. Rossi, is: do you bleed red and gray and support Key West conks?
I bleed it so much I can't even begin to tell you. And you know, I feel like I am a conk, and I just love conks because what Key West has given me in my life, I can never repay back to the community. I mean, this is just a wonderful, wonderful place. And, you know, like I said, I've been here since 1982, and I really learned about Key West and the conks, and not only the conks, but also the conks in Bahama Village and everything. And this is a wonderful place to be and live.
Okay, absolutely. And also what I've seen in your business strategy, you always is taking care of locals.
Always, that's number one. Number one is take care of the locals and take care of the military. I can tell you that right now. And all the locals know me because everybody comes to Rick's and Dirty Harry's.
Well, you kind of set the tempo to make sure I think you originated the local discount taking care of locals because a lot of people
started the locals card.
Did you?
Oh yeah, I did. Rossi World.
Okay, so I've been out there to the complex. We've done some stuff together, and I appreciate you and I respect you. And like I said, you know, this ain't easy. I mean, you don't run for office for the money, that's for sure, because there's a lot of headaches.
I'm running for the office because I love the city of Key West and I love the Conks, and we need to take a stand and fight for what's right. And for what's right is to take care of the Conks and the elderly of this community, and that's where I'm at.
Okay, let me ask you this. What would you do different than Mayor Terry Johnson during this pandemic?
Well, I don't want to throw rocks at Terry, but what I would have done different is I would have got more input from the business community. We in the business community felt that our voice was not heard, and you know, that's an important thing. Listen to the businesses. You know, we know what's going on. I'm on Duval Street 8 to 10 hours a day, so I hear and see, and I'm around town. Like I told you today, I've got over 20-some miles on my scooter today, and that's a lot in one day.
No, for sure. And how long were you a city commissioner for?
11 and a half years. I was appointed by the city commission to fill a great woman's seat, Mayoral McCoy,
wow,
who was very close to me. I actually live in her mother's house.
Really?
Oh yeah, and the McCoy family, Sonny, and all the McCoys. And actually, Dulcie lives next to me now, still to this day.
Nice.
So it's, you know, that's part of Key West.
I got you. Okay, so what I need y'all to do right now is hit notifications right over here. And if you're on YouTube worldwide, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for the love. So we're going to check in with some people here. JC Key West is watching. Thank you. Christopher, what's going on? He said, Mr. Worldwide 305. Yes, sir. William Ryan, thank you. BB checking in. You know this character?
Tony Montero.
Yep. Checking in. Tom
Yes,
Sawyer.
oh,
My
yeah.
man, they said Rossi for president. There you go.
Tommy boy.
Tangela is checking in. Thank you all. None but love. But listen, any questions, this will be the time. And right now, this is a live show. So, you know, it's going to get on the hotline, on the coconut hotline right now that Rossi's on. So we getting it in. This is your time to ask any question that you guys want to ask. Mark, what do you say? This is very critical. What do you say to the people who want the city to get shut down again? This is very tough.
Can't be done. We need to keep the city open for the economics of it. People need to work. You can't shut it down. I mean, it's too much at stake here. People's livelihood. You know, there's mental health issues from everything that's going on here. And, you know, my business is shut down right now, and it's been shut down now in a week. So I can see it, and it's not a good thing. And people are scrambling to try to stay open. And what is 106 or 160 businesses have closed up in the last month or two, and that, you just can't have that. You got to have business and be open for a viable economy.
Okay. You got Tony Durante checking in.
Hey, Tony.
Tom Sawyer says Rossi listens. John, answer my line. Well, I'm not sure exactly what that means. I'm trying to ask. Well, go ahead and submit your question here. We'll get it on. Ayulas de Lobos. We got some Latin fans out there. Mark, John, let me ask you something. Denise, do you see a question there? Because I don't see a question from John. If you could find it, I'll be glad to answer that question. Okay, we don't see the question, John, so just submit your question. But let me tell you something so I can be clear for me. I'm 100%, 1 million, 1 billion% for Rossi for mayor. I respect Terry. Where I had a problem with Terry, where she lost me, is that she is not weighing the opinion of others, like you said, in the business community. But as you know, if you
not
don't,
only the business community, Conks, man, she don't listen.
So bottom line is, when you was a commissioner, if you didn't work with people, you don't get nothing done. You learn that.
You know, let me tell you this, Louie, and the most important thing I learned from being a city commissioner for 11 and a half years, and I'd still be one today if I didn't think, you know, I voted in term limits. But the most important thing I learned was to listen, and to listen to what the people of the city of Key West want. Yeah. And that's the most important thing you can do.
I'm like you. I listen to people. You know, I take the people's opinion, and then I listen and then move forward. So my issue is that, you know, with COVID-19, no matter what it is, the majority still rule, right? And if you're just going to do what you want as an individual, then I just can't respect that, because there was not any input on some of these decisions that we made from other city commission. Let's just be clear. So at the end of the day, it takes a lot of people to work together to make something happen. And right now we're not doing it. We're almost out of crack at one human family.
Well, let me say this, that one of the things that's an attribute to me is I'm a consensus builder. When I was on the commission, I kind of like the guy that was in Pulp Fiction. The fixer. Yeah. I would have to go in and fix a lot of the problems that took place. And that's what I'm good at, taking care of problems.
Okay, John, we finally got John's question. You want to read it? You see it there yet, Ms. Terry?
Yes, so we have John checking in and saying, how will you bring more business to Key West?
Well, I'm going to try to bring back the poker run. I think that was a very important thing that got squandered away after 45 years in the slowest month of the year, in the middle of hurricane season.
September's rough.
Yeah, September's a rough month, and we needed that. I'm working tightly with Larry Bile with the boat races to make sure that goes down. I put on Lobster Fest with Eric Adams. I'm very involved with Fantasy Fest, and when I was on the commission, I was the liaison between the commission and the organizers of Fantasy Fest. So I'm the one that instituted a lot of the rules for Fantasy Fest. The gators that you see going up and down the road, the DUI tests that are taken now before the parade starts. A lot of the issues I'm very familiar with. That's, a lot of people don't know what it takes to put on Fantasy Fest, like having a bucket truck from City Electric in case one of the floats strikes the power poles. Yep. Making sure that the Aqueduct Authority has a backhoe ready in case there's a water line break. These are things that people don't understand.
And I understand that from a promoter standpoint.
Right, you got to have everything, because if you don't, you can't do it.
I think that you're getting some misinformation out there, and I want to make sure we crystal clear.
Yeah, I want to get it straight too. A lot of people think that I'm in this just for me and to try to make it. I'm not in this for me. I'm in this for Key West and make Key West the city that is, the great city that it is, and keep it that way.
Yeah, and like I said, if we're going to be one human family, we need to be one human family. Right now, we far from that. We need to get back to that. But I want to make sure we're clear though, because there's a lot of misinformation. When you say you're going to put these events, okay, that you've been part of, right? You're not saying put the health risk. I want to make sure you're clear.
You can never put a person's health in front of an event or money. The most important thing is to take care of a person's health. To err on the side of caution is to be the right way, because if something goes down and it falls apart, then you're responsible for it, and then it mushrooms from there. Okay. So I'm not about that. I'm about taking care of people and making sure that the events are safe for everyone.
Okay. So Denise, we keep it blood raw around here, right?
Right.
So what's his comment? Give me the comment straight up. Don't sugarcoat it. I want the comment straight up here. What's the next comment from John you see there?
All right. Well, first we have John commenting, can we survive if tourists don't come down? And then it's followed by, he's giving misinformation.
Okay, so they want to take the first one, and then I'm going to take the second one. Let's be specific. I don't know what misinformation is man given, and you could go ahead and take the first one.
Well, I think that we're not going to be able to survive if we don't have tourism. We do have the military, which I'm extremely involved with, and I court the military and work to keep jihad here. The Coast Guard.
Is that the jihad fish?
It's the Joint Agency Task Force South. The Special Forces School, all of it, and that's the way I work.
Okay, so fair enough. Keep the questions coming in. Unfortunately, I heard a couple of days you had a rough meeting down there at the shop.
Yeah, unfortunately,
and people don't understand how rough it is out there.
Yeah, people don't. It costs a lot of money to be in business on Duval Street. The city of Key West today mailed me all the license renewals for my businesses. And they're wanting money for 12 months out of the year. Well, I haven't been open now for over 3 months, so it just doesn't stop.
Well, to me, that's for sure should be extended some time, because a lot of people don't understand, Mark. When you have, let's just be clear, and I say this with the utmost respect. Okay, some of y'all have not missed a paycheck, right? most of y'all have more money than you had before as far as what you intook because you got a stimulus check. Some of y'all even worked overtime. But a lot of service industry, once that shut down, that's it. There was
done. Man, I'm telling you, man, it's bad. There's a lot of people that are hurting out there that are in the service industry, you know, and I didn't want to have to let my employees go, and actually I furloughed them so they could go get workman's comp or workman's, unemployment.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it because I've got a great crew, but
it's the first time you probably did that, right?
I had to. I had no choice because I don't know how long we're going to be shut down for, and I have a strong suspicion it's going to be a long time. I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking it could be months.
Well, like we was talking about in off camera, what people don't understand, in the 1918 pandemic with the Spanish flu, that took to 1921, 4 years before it got back to normal. Now, granted that we have more technology here. I'm with Dr. Burrows is on the program every Friday. I've been on this day one. Doctor, here's another thing. I don't know if you know this. Dr. Burrows went to the city commission on March 3rd. Let's be clear, and said we got a tidal wave coming ×3. And like the whole nation, nobody listened to it was too late, but he damn sure was on top of it. My point is he was on top of the game, and he's a businessman also, and he comes from the health side, and he's kind of like what you're saying is, you can't be all the way on the right side, doing nothing, shutting things down, and I understand not being on the reckless side somewhere in the middle.
You got to find the sweet spot. Exactly. That's what you got to do.
Question
that works for everybody.
All right, I'm just going to cut in here. We have Harry Russell. Mark, how do you feel about our police officers being used as code enforcement
Harry Russell,
people,
my man.
Not following the various local rules, such as wearing masks in our businesses?
Mark, before you answer that, I just want to give a shout out to Mr. Russell personally. He was the principal of Sugarloaf High School, born and bred Conk. I played baseball with him. And now he got called to the big show. He's over there at the Mayoral County School Board, head of Human Resources. So congratulations on your promotion.
Good questions coming.
Go ahead, Mark. It's all you. That's a good question.
First of all, they cut back the code enforcement officers out of the budget by 2. There's not enough code down there to keep everything going. Now they're shutting Duval Street down. They claim it for social distancing. We'll see what happens. The police are not happy about it because then they're taken away from doing their job, and some nights there's not a lot of if you look at the city of Key West, sometimes 1 or 2 officers call in sick, and then they have to double up, and it's a tough job.
Me and this guy have been in the city where we only had 6 officers for the whole city.
I'm telling you, man. And I've been here during the hurricane when the sheriff had to move up to Plantation Key or Ocean Reef, and it's a tough job to keep the legal, the law and everything working.
We taking all questions today. Please go ahead and hit the notification button for those y'all coming in, and on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. But Mark is actually being nice about this, so I'm gonna tell you exactly blood raw how I feel about the situation. First of all, if the roll should be called the other day, it would have been 5-2. For keeping the beaches open and canceling the fireworks. Let's be clear. So the order of the operation of the meeting was not followed properly. Therefore, that's why that happened. The mayor did not allow an amendment to come in that said, yes, you can shut the fireworks, but keep the beaches open. Okay, I agree with you, Mark. Matter of fact, I had intensive conversations with the chief of police, and I feel bad for the chief of police, but I think it's going to be a disaster. I want to make sure I'm clear for the record. For this week, I think it's going to be extremely busy down there. Fantasy Fest, Spring Break, and Bike Week all in one. And then you're asking people to do enforcements that they've never done before. And people are on edge. And as we know, as people start drinking, we're setting up the police force for failure and code enforcement.
Well, you can see it. I mean, people from even problems out at Outback Steakhouse. I mean, that's out in Newtown. Then they had a big problem down at the Coast Guard building, downtown with people spitting on people and then you add alcohol into the mix, and it just gets worse from the minute it starts.
Miss Denise Lane, thank you, darling, doing the production today. Go ahead and hit me. All questions Go ahead. We're gonna have them all today.
Right. I'm gonna Jessica Craney. She has typed in, please note, Mark did not take a salary as city commissioner. A lot of people don't know that.
Not only didn't take a salary, I didn't take any of the insurance benefits or anything, and it usually ended up costing me money. Particularly when I would go to conferences and other issues, I'd pay my own way. I never took a penny from the city of Key West. Not a free hotel room, nothing.
All love.
All
Just
right.
for the love of the city.
And we have Richard Guzman. How are you going to separate your business interests and being mayor?
That's easy because my business interests and being mayor are two different things. Being mayor is a hell of a responsibility in taking care of the residents of this community and making sure that they're taken care of properly. My business, I have a good man down there named Fred Bushy. He'll be down there. He's been with me for 12 years. He'll be taking over the reins because basically the mayor of Key West is a full-time job, and that's what I do good is manage people. And I can tell you something that I will work. When I was a commissioner, I worked in each city department one day a week, one day a month in each of the 16 departments to get a feel for each of those departments. And when I get back to being mayor, I'm going to do that again. And I will have an open door policy for the employees to come in without any retribution or any problems to come and talk to me.
Let me say this. Richard's one of my favorite guys, born and bred conch.
Yep.
So he's brought this point up, and I explained it to him, but I'm going to let you explain to him. But what he's saying is that if there's something that's conflictive to come in front of the commission,
then I'll do what I always did. I'll recluse myself from the vote because it's not right to serve your personal interests, and you have to step back from it. And that's what I'm about, doing what's right.
Denise Lane,
Laura's Lane cousin in the building today. Give me some more questions.
All right, so we have Pamela Hershey. Mask. Neither one has it on. That's the problem. Follow guidelines.
Let me take this one. Pamela is our number one. Pamela is my number one fan. She come in. Mark has his mask over here. I got my mask here. I done told you. I'm explaining it again for y'all. We're not in the CBS studio. We're not in the MTV studio. So this is how this podcast is set up. We have COVID-19 procedures very strict on here. We take it very serious, but we can't get the podcast done effectively when we have a mask on. Out of respect to Dr. Burrows or whatever, I try to put the mask on there for his podcast. That's what it is. So that's my answer to that question. When you ask me again tomorrow, I'm going to give you the same answer.
Good.
All right, good question from Harry Russell. Mark, share your thoughts on workforce housing.
Oh, that's a good one. You know, Harry, I got to tell you this. I build workforce housing, I own workforce housing, and I rent workforce housing. And I'm a strong believer that the taxpayers shouldn't have to fit the bill for workforce housing. Let the employers like myself, if I can do it, other employers can do it. So that's the way it works, and I'm not for. There's enough public housing out there right now. I think 15 to 20% of this community is affordable, or housing from Key West Housing Authority.
Right, and that's we haven't solved this problem, Mark. To be honest with you, in a million years, it's still.
You're not going to solve this problem. And I just was over at one of my projects this afternoon. You asked me why I had a lot of sun. Because the city's giving me a hard time on one of my properties over there over the FEMA evaluations, and they can't understand that you can do things if you put a pencil to it and you pay attention to it. And like I said, I build, I sell it, I rent it. I know affordable workforce housing. I know what it takes.
And you're actually putting people in those homes to get to basics. So you actually have the bar, and then you're helping people being affordable.
Listen, I got people that have been tenants with me for years. I haven't raised their rent at all. They're not in over on Patterson, not over on McDonald Avenue and Stock Island. In my employee housing behind Rick's, the rents haven't gone up in over 7 to 10 years. I'll bet you easy.
And let me tell you something about this man also. What a lot of y'all don't know. A lot of people want to talk stuff, but they don't do the research. You actually been taking care of your employees when we went out first on March 17. And
sure, I paid them for all the way up until this week. They're still getting paid. This is the last week. A lot of them But yeah, I paid all my employees, even though they weren't working, 50 hours a week for the full-time employees, and 50 hours every 2 weeks for the full-time employees, and 24 hours a week for the every 2 weeks for the part-time employees. So you know, my employees are very dear and near to me.
Okay, that is awesome. I'm gonna check in with some people here. Miss Denise Lane, Crystal checking in all the way from Panama City. Thank you for coming in, Jessica. Thank you for your input. And any other, Harry Russell. Okay, we answered that. So go ahead. I guess you're up.
All right. So we have Marty Kramer. What are the city's plans for Lobster Fest? And if it will be held, how is a street party different than bars being able to operate as far as the spread of COVID-19?
Well, Marty, I hate to tell you that we're going to cancel Lobster Fest this year because of the pandemic, and we'll have to see what we can do. I've been working with Eric to try to move it to another date, but pretty much December's all filled up, and who knows what's going to happen in September. But I think
not looking good.
Lobster Fest is going to be by the side, deep sixth.
Okay. Hey, do me a favor. We're going to take all questions today. Go ahead and hit the notification here for those of y'all coming in, because we regularly got people coming in. And on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It's your time, Denise.
All right, Shane Hall. Mark, what do you think about all the drastic changes Reimagine Key West Group is moving forward? For example, like the calling for cruise ship removal.
Well, that's another good question. You know, I think that you remove cruise ships, you're going to change this town entirely. What people don't understand is that the cruise ships put a lot of money into the general budget. A lot's been said about the $91,000 profit. Well, let me tell you this. Through what we call creative accounting, Jim Scholl, myself, and Mark Finnegan, we did a little creative accounting. The cruise ship disembarkation fees can be used for certain issues, i.e. police department, i.e. the fire department, and i.e. public works department. And you can put the money into those three departments legally, and that money can be used for different things, because the cruise ship passengers use the streets, so the public works department can use the money for fixing streets and other issues that arise. The fire department is there for the ambulances if somebody has to be medevacked off the ship. The police department's there to provide security, and also if there's other issues there. So this is a full 360-degree circle. It comes back. There's a lot of people that go on the water sports businesses. There's the restaurant people. There's the bar people. There's the conch train drivers that get their tips. And what a lot of people don't understand is that the taxis make money off of this, because the crew members get off of the ships and walk right over off the ship to Green Street and take a cab. You know where they go? They go up to Ross, or they go to the Eckards up there, or they go to Winn-Dixie. And that in turn spends money to help those people who are working there to have money for their families, the same as the cab drivers. And what people don't understand is that maybe a person's on a snorkel boat or at a restaurant, and the guy slips the person an extra $5 or $10 cash tip. Where do you think that money goes? That money goes back into the community. There was an old friend of mine when I first started out in business here called Benny Alvarez. Yep. A lot of you people might know him. He owned West Provisions over on White Street. And one thing Benny taught me was to buy locally. Okay? And I try to buy as much as everything that I do down at Rick's Bar and Dirty Harry's locally. It's gotten extremely harder over the years, but if I can do it locally, I do it locally. And we got to keep the economy rolling and not take the money out of this town.
Yep. Also, Mark, like I said, I had Tony Yanis on the program, and I was glad to hear him say a couple things. Number one, he said he's not the person that led this cruise ship movement, and he's willing to basically sit down at the table and definitely hash out, how we could get better and talk about cruise ships. Right? So you as a businessman, you know,
well,
sometimes.
let me make this perfectly clear. You know, if I get into the office of mayor, what I'm going to do is I'm going to manage the cruise ships issue. I'm going to make sure that there's not too many passengers left off of a cruise ship on any certain day.
Okay.
And we're going to make sure that the cruise ships abide and have a good environmental record, okay? This is what has to be done. I haven't been in power. I haven't been in city government now for 4 years. This is what's happened. And then with Cuba shutting down, you got more cruise ship passengers. But I think that we come up with a limited cruise ship passengers that's workable and sustainable for all. And I want to make that perfectly clear because it's that important to our community. There's a tremendous amount of people that don't understand just how much cruise ship dollars go into our community. And you know what? That brand new ship from Virgin Cruises wouldn't be able to come here. Okay? 1,300 passengers a day off a ship. Or total passengers. You can't do that, man. If the small ships, I've been on small ships, okay? Most of the small ships are pretty old ships, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
And some of these newer ships are state of the art. I'm not saying bring in 4,000, 5,000 passenger ships, but there's some really nice ships that can come in here of 2,000 passengers to 3,000 passengers. Like I said, they're in here at 7:30 in the morning and they're gone by 3. It's clean tourism, period.
Okay, well that is absolutely spectacular, and I'll be honest with you, Tony was saying some of these same things, so I think we could definitely work together.
Listen, I've been in touch with Arlo and the crew from the ships, and we've talked, because as a mayor, and when I get elected mayor, you have to build consensus between everybody, okay? And fighting one side and another side, listen, a lot of these problems could be solved if the mayor brings people into the room and puts them in a room and talks about it and discusses it. And that's what I'm going to do. I can tell you right now. I'm one that solves problems.
You have to be part of the solution, not the problem. And then you talk big, but you don't do big. So you get to the round table and you basically get to the meat of the coconut and you do the best deal that's for Key West.
Peace through negotiations.
That's it. Miss Denise.
All right. I just want to make sure I don't miss this one. Christina Bird Boros, please encourage first responders and police to wear face shields as well as 95 masks when patrolling. Keep eyes protected. I'm for Rossi for mayor. Dr. Boros.
Well, thanks, Christina. And I'll tell you one other thing, too, that I would have done early on. I would have made sure that all first-line employees would have been COVID tested and continue COVID testing of them to this day, because they're our frontline employees and they're the ones that are dealing with all the problems out there, and they need to be tested and they need to be kept safe. So, Christine, I agree with you 100%. And that means face shields, and that also means masks, and not just regular masks, the M85 masks.
So you must have heard your ears ringing, because I've called for all city and county to be tested, mandatory. And I don't know why we haven't done that, because if we're going to be on the side of basically making sure that we're doing everything we can, how can we not start with our own city and our own county?
You got to take care of the people that are taking care of you, man. Who are you going to call? You said you're going to call the ambulance. If the people that are running the ambulances got COVID, who's going to run the ambulances? You got to test them. You got to make sure they're safe, and PPE and all that. I mean, it's a lot. But
common sense.
You got to take care of the people. Our people are in the fire department and the police department are putting their lives on the line all the time, and they need to have the respect and the medical stuff, medical attention that's due to them to keep this city running.
Right. And what you don't know is that I shared a committee, and I had Dr. Burrows, my health professor, on there. I actually had Mr. Russell on there to have a different type of people on the committee. And we said we are ready to go for testing. And this was before it was free. Whenever you guys want to test people, we can't test all 80,000 people at one time. But at Advanced Urgent Care, Key West Marathon, and Key Largo, we trying to move forward and get everybody
over there, and I've actually got a test over at Urgent Care, the nose swab, and it wasn't as bad as what I thought it was going to be. And I'm here to say to you, I tested negative, and if I go over there again, I'll take another one. But I send a lot of people over there, but not only there, but also over here to Douglas Gym, because they're giving tests there. But the service and everything that I got was spectacular.
Okay. Can you grab that? See that little white little test right there, right over here. That right there.
Right.
Okay. So visual aids for me. So me and Burrow's been on this. You see that? And I got this a long time ago. I come to make it happen. And at this point, there's no excuse for not being tested. It's free. Mostly all insurances are covered.
When in doubt, get tested.
That's
man.
it. And to me, we test everybody. We test everybody here locally. We can do it. We can't do it.
My wife's a doctor. Okay. So I'll tell you straightforward.
Yeah.
I live with a doctor, so.
And Louie, where can they go for testing?
They could go to Advanced Urgent Care, Key West Marathon in Key Largo.
Do a great job over there.
And you got to call ahead of time because it's really busy. And if you want, go down there and get tested. But just to say it one more time, I think every city and county employee needs to be tested, in my opinion.
Well, I agree, especially the frontline employees that are dealing with the streets of Key West. They need to be tested, and they should be tested on a regular basis. And that's one thing I think the city's lacking. And
let's make it happen.
That's leadership, man. That's what it's about.
Well, you get in there, you're gonna go ahead. We still ain't doing it. You're gonna go ahead and rush that on a rush order.
It'll be one of the first things I do, bud.
Okay. All right. Phil Cruz checking in. Thank you. Any other questions out there, Miss Denise?
No, but I do want Shane Hall. We have thanks, Mark. In total agreement. I think we can be more active and being ecologically savvy and keep the economy that the ships bring in. Cruise ships are vital to Key West survival.
Nice.
And I'll say another thing straightforward here with you. Joe Weatherby was the person who helped sink the Vandenberg. I was on the commission that sunk the Vandenberg, and I'm very proud of that because what we did there was we took a lot of pressure off the reef and put it on to the Vandenberg. And I will say this, I'm personally working with Joe right now on trying to get another ship down here, a big one called the United States. It was a cruise ship. It's sitting up in Philadelphia in the docks up there, Ruston. I have pictures on my phone about it, and we're trying to work a deal to get that ship down here and put it out there too, to take even more pressure off the reef. So, people aren't going to come to Key West if we have dirty water and we don't have an ecologically sound thing. Do I agree with all the things about the sanctuary? No. But I can tell you, we need to take care of our surrounding waters and make sure our nearshore waters are clean. And that's another thing. The sewer department out there and wastewater, we got some of the best in the state of Florida. Those boys out there are winning awards, and really, you can drink the wastewater. I've been to the wastewater plant.
Nice.
I don't think the mayor's been there, but
Okay.
I've been there.
All right. That's outstanding. Also, I want to give a shout out. Deborah Sweet says, good answer on the cruise ships matter. Key West businesses need them. Naughty Vapes. Go out there and check them out across the street from the fire department on the boulevard. Thank you, Miss Deborah, for checking in. And we're going to take questions here in a second. But Mark, I'm going to try to do everything I can in every inch of my body to make sure people vote and get out to vote, because my slogan is vote or die. Is that serious?
This is one of the most important elections that Key West has seen in many, many, many years. And it's going to come down to the conks voting and get the people out. Because, man, if you want this town to change and turn into a Naples, Florida, and a bunch of rich people down here and take your heritage away from you, then don't vote. If you want to keep this town viable and conk, then you better come out and vote. You better vote for Mark Rossi, because I'm telling you, if you look at some of the financial things that have been filed for Terry and who's donated money to Terry, retiree. Can you say that?
Yeah.
I can say it 10 times.
Yeah.
You look at my contributions, and my contributions are from the working people and people who are in this community that want to keep it viable.
And one thing is saying that you're going to vote and actually doing it. So make sure you go out and vote. And Mark, for anybody who wants to be part of the campaign, or they want to get a campaign sign,
you can give me a call at 305-797-0544. And I'll get you right there. I've got a great crew put together, and I'm very proud of my people that are working on my team, and we're going to win. I can tell you. I can see it.
We got to give some shout outs here because people working hard. First of all, I'm going to give that man, Joe Carter, MVP so far.
Yeah.
Who else you want to give a shout out to?
Joe Carter, I just got Jessica Craney on board. She's doing a great job. I've got Alia Ferguson there, and it's taking care of the social aspects and the meet and greets.
Okay.
I've got Margaret Ramiro on board as my statistician. I've got Mike Morowski from the Hemingway House, who's one of my close friends too, as the chief of staff. I've got Clary Higgins as my legal team. I've got Gary Santonzi as an advisor. I've got Fred Bushy as an advisor. Like I said, I've put together an incredible crew to get elected to the office of mayor, and I'm proud of everybody.
You left your right-hand man.
And I got Louie C. Rock, the man, the myth, the legend.
Not me, but you left one very critical person out.
Who's that?
You know who we talk about. Your right-hand man, the Consiglione. Big Duke Donovan.
Oh, the Dukester. Yeah.
I can't forget Duke.
He's still celebrating his birthday.
Happy birthday, Duke.
The Duke,
bless you.
Yeah,
what a character.
He is, man.
You should have a reality. He was doing reality television before reality television.
You'll never forget Mike Donovan once you meet him.
No, he's great.
And you know, Mike's been with me for over 30-some years.
Here's another thing, you know, to keep it blood raw out here. A lot of people have been with you from day one.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, most of my employees have been with me for better part of 10 to 15, 20 years. I don't lose employees because I treat my employees with respect and dignity, and that's what you got to do. And
we're getting a lot of thumbs up there, and we got a shout out from Phil Cruz. Rossi is great to work for.
Okay,
thank
awesome.
you. Yeah.
Anything else on questions?
No questions.
Okay. Any more questions? Come on in. Let me see who else we got here. Shane Hall, thank you. Joe Mastermind, here's the service industry, and this is critical for y'all service industry. You got to get out and vote. If this is the first time that you voted in your time living, this will be the time to do it.
Yes.
Because when Mark didn't tell you, this city and county, but nationwide too, but especially in Key West, because your future depends on it. You know, right now you used to certain things, it might go a whole different way where people don't understand. It's very easy to get, like I said, like Miami Beach, be on one side of positive stuff for entertainment, service industry, and then all of a sudden get a whole new makeup and go the other way. All you need is 4 votes.
Let me say this to you. I'm a consensus builder on the diocese. Obviously, with the sunshine laws, you can't discuss the issues, but when it comes to the diocese, I can build a consensus with the other commissioners. Let me say this to you and all the people that are watching here. There's a tremendous amount of issues that are getting ready to face the city of Key West. The first one is the number of days in reserve. Okay? We are down to 32 days of reserve.
Really?
Of reserves, yeah,
Wow.
and that's serious.
Out of how many days?
When I was in office was 92 days. Okay, so that's 50, 60 some days. You get a hurricane, you got issues. And my good friend Tony Estenos over at the Shell station, I'll tell you a little story. When Irma came in through town, me and Tony and I think Louie, you were around, we got the gasoline for everybody for the generators. And I'll tell you what, it was nothing like seeing a line of people from Tony's Shell station and the Miami place with people standing with red jerry jugs for the gas for their generators to keep the refrigerators and everything running. And then on the other hand, the line went from Tony's Shell all the way to Flagler for people who wanted gas for their cars. So you put this in motion. I was the only person that was invited into the EOC during Irma. I've been through many hurricanes in this community, and I will say this to everybody out there straightforward. Think about this. Would you rather go through a hurricane with Terry Johnson as your mayor, or would you rather go through a hurricane with Mark Rossi as your mayor? Because I can tell you, man, I can get the things done that need to be done.
We keeping it blood raw. That's how we do it out here on the Louie C. the Mayor podcast. And let me tell you something. Talking about lines, you know, out in Stock Island, for example, there's a lot of people, and this really gets to my core of my heart. You know, when people have to play musicians and go on Facebook Live to get tips, this is a problem for me. Where people don't know where the next meal is coming from, this is a problem. So in Stock Island at Bernstein Park, right? In the park, we have the SOS food drive.
Yep.
And the line was from the front of the park all the way going down 5th, 6th, 7th, all the way to 12th Avenue.
People are hungry out there, man.
All the way stretched to US 1. So, you know, I'm asking my people and my conks to really look at this Nobody wants to die. Nobody wants to put anybody at risk. This is a good man, but we can't have it on one side or the other. We got to meet somewhere in the middle, because if not, the whole city is collapsing. We're on the verge of financial collapse right now in the city. You just explained.
I'm telling you, man. Not only with the budget, but you've got pension fund problems. There's all kind of things that are facing the city of Key West that are going to come up in the next 6 to 8 months. I can tell you right now. You
got Charles checking in. Phil Cruz, I see you. You know this person right here? Arthur?
Yep.
Says, what's up, Mark? Rosalind, okay. Mark Rossi for mayor. What else we got out there? Anything else?
So we've got Spring Rice. Oh. I provide all the alcohol compliance training for Mark's businesses. Mark always does above and beyond the statutory requirements with the training requirements. His staff is also one of the most professional and respectful of groups I have ever trained. This is definitely a testament to how he runs his business and the person he is. Mark is one of the smartest people I know, and he will make the best mayor.
Thanks, Spring, and I really appreciate you saying that and bringing that up. One of the things that makes me successful down in Duval Street with my employees is I teach consistency and I teach structure, okay? And with one gets the other. And if you come down to Rick's and Dirty Harry's, you'll see that my employees are always the same. They're treated with respect. I'm not there yelling at them or cussing at them or doing any of that. And they're professional. They're not allowed to drink behind the bar because you can't run a bar and have a drunk bartender, okay? My security people are treat people with respect and dignity. And that's what it's about. You have to treat people with respect. And I try to do that all the way through my life.
Yeah. Well, you self-made. You've been on there on Duval Street a long time.
I came to Key West with $10, brother.
Yeah.
Like I said, I started as the county cook at the jailhouse in 1981, 82 over there, not more than a block and a half away from here. So I can tell you all about it.
And I also want to shout out Spring Rice. Spring training is not about baseball.
No,
it's
Spring
about
does a great job.
Spring is on top of the game. She kept me out a lot of hot water to make sure I learned the law from top to bottom. And, I respect you, and you taught me a lot of stuff. And like I said, we're in this together, and I support you 1,000,000%. And I'm on the front lines. You ain't got to worry about me, laying low, hushing. I'm on the front lines. I support Mark Rossi. Anybody who support me, please support Mark Rossi. We need a change at the top. We're on the verge of collapse. And this is just what it is. There's nothing personal against anybody. This is just how I feel.
And let me say this to you. I will be a hands-on mayor. I can work very closely with city manager Greg Velez. I have tremendous respect for Greg. Tremendous respect for Sean Smith. I can't begin to tell you the respect I have. The fire department, Sean, over at the police department, I eat lunch with him on Thursdays at Rotary. I have a working relationship with all the people in City Hall. Will there be a few changes? Yeah, there'll be a few changes over there because people disrespect the public. And those people know who they are. I'm not going to bring their name up now. Okay. But I can tell you, from what I deal with in the street, I know what's going on, and people come and tell me. Like you said, listening is the most important thing about being in the city.
And I think you touch on a critical point, because I come from the school of trying to work with people, right? So if you go in a goddamn office in the city and you ask a question, your job is not to tell people that you can't. Your job is to figure out how you can. So basically, these are taxpayers. They pay or your salaries or whatever. And if you don't have any goddamn customer service skill, you'll be nowhere around the city. Is my opinion.
You know what, man? I'm going to tell you what. There used to be a tax collector here named Harry and Knight. Okay? And one of Harry Knight's greatest things, I'll never forget it when I was a younger man, when I'd go over there and pay my taxes and everything to Harry. And you know what Harry's thing on the wall said? Taxpayers are our bread and butter. And man, that's the truth. And you got to take care of your taxpayers. And I'll tell you what, Morgan McPherson and I once learned, you got to give your taxpayers something. You just can't always be take. Right. Yeah, you got to get something back, man. Yeah. It's not always about take. You got to give back. Taxpayers deserve something too, and they deserve better streets in Newtown. Okay, they deserve a clean city. They deserve a safe city, and they deserve a city that's respected by all.
Well, now that you brought in Newtown, basically, I was thinking about this, and I had this question. You just proved the point that you're not looking out just for Duval Street, you for all the people, and you want to make sure that the whole city's take care, not just you on Duval, the 200 blocks.
Not in my book. It's not about Duval Street. It's about the conks out in Newtown and Old Town and down in Bahama Village. All of us are here to live together.
Power to the people.
That's right, man. And that's what, people think I'm here to try to enrich myself. Man, I don't need to do that, okay? I've been successful. I'm here for the people of Key West because I love Key West. And that's what it's about, Louie, I'm telling you.
And let me tell you this, some of y'all, a lot of people don't like facts, but now when Mark was speaking, he brought up a gentleman named Greg Velez. I'm for Greg Velez a billion percent, right? Like I said, you need the majority to approve it. Let me
say this. I'm the one that had to engineer the deal with Bob Vitas when Bob Vitas had to leave. Julio Aviel had to engineer that deal when Julio had to leave. Right. Okay, these are things that people forget, okay? But these are other city managers that were there. Jim Scholl. Still to this day, a very personal and one of my close best friends.
One of the best ones we
got so lucky to get Jim from the Navy base and to come over to the city. Not only was he once a city manager, but twice. And I can tell you, being city manager is not an easy job.
How many bosses you got when you're city manager?
You got 7.
It's enough for one boss. You got 7. You got to try to think.
The mayor is more powerful than anybody else. So let me tell you out there, the mayor only has 1 vote, and the mayor's term is only 2 years. So I can tell you, when I was on the commission, I had a lot more power than the mayor because I was a 4-year term commissioner. And if you go into my district, District 2, I knew every single person in District 2 by name, where they lived, and I made sure that when they called me, I answered the phone and I took care of the problems that were over there. And District 2 is one of the biggest districts in the city, believe me.
And let me tell you this, because you have fact and you have fiction. So some of y'all forget that, first of all, when it came to Greg Velez, so let me be clear, you have to have a majority. We spoke a lot here about majority, right? So what happened is Terry Johnson voted against Greg Velez, let's be clear, and the man got 4 votes out of 7. He didn't get unanimous. I 1,000,000% backed him. And, I'm like you, the morale of the city, I think, would have sunk because we tried this stuff to get people do not.
You got to have somebody that understands
the structure of Key West, right?
You bring people into Key West and they don't understand who and what's going on here. And the nice thing about Greg is he's a conk, he's from Key West, and he's an upstanding guy, and he's doing a great job. And the poor guy doesn't get the credit that's due. The same with Sean Smith. I got to tell you, man, we don't know how lucky we are with a city attorney like Sean. Yeah. That man gives it his all, and I just respect him. And the same, I'll tell you, this Chief Brandenburg,
Donnie Lee.
With who do you think put Donnie in there? Right. I got Donnie to go in there. Donnie and I talked. I says, Donnie, man, you need to be the chief of police. The diversity and everything that is Key West, we need to have a chief like you. All right? And that's how Donnie got in there. You see how long Donnie was there for? And still to this day, Donnie's one of my good buddies and good friends. I mean,
and look at Sean. He trained Sean.
Yeah.
And we talk about Velez. And Velez, I hope you watch it because you got to remember who was with you when it all went down. Let's be clear. And like I said, you only got 4 out of the 7 votes. And guess what? You earned it because he started from scratch.
Right.
He went through the departments and made it was a lot of opposition.
Atwell, another one, and the guys at Fire, Barroso,
right,
and Danny Blanco, all those guys,
Conks,
Steve Wells when he was there,
red and gray all day, baby.
All the good people, these are the guys that keep the city running. Who comes out when you call the ambulance in the middle of the night?
I'm just gonna put this up right here in case you measure
conk mentality, brother.
Red and gray all day. We bleed it. What you got, Denise?
Don Wade. He's an honorary member of the Chief Petty Officers Association, NAS Chica. Talk to us about that.
Yes, Don is a good friend of mine, and he is a retired Navy chief. And yes, I'm glad you brought that up, Don. I don't like to toot my horn, but I will say that I do take care of the military, and that's one of the things that makes Rick's work even better, is because we love the military. those people, and as you as a retiree know, you put your life on the line for our freedoms so that people can go out and do protest and do everything they want to do. And I was elected through the Chiefs Mess to become an honorary member. I have a card that gets me into the mess out there, and I just respect those guys tremendously. And the same goes with the Coast Guard, man. I'm telling you, when you're out in the water and you're out boating, who do you call when you got a problem? You call the Coast Guard. Yeah. Okay? And Captain Shammy over there, and I'm constant with all of them. And I know them on a first name basis, and the respect that I have. And I will say this straightforward to everybody that is watching tonight. I am the only person that's been up in what's called Navy Southeast region in Jacksonville. As a civilian, I was up there, and I know how the Navy works. We want to talk about housing over on Sigsbee? Well, listen, I'm probably one of the only people that can get housing done over on Sigsbee base because I know how it works. I've been to Navy Southeast region in Jacksonville. I'll convene a meeting with the Admiral up there. I'll get the two senators, Rubio and Scott. I'm going to get to know Governor DeSantis, who I think is doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I think he's doing great.
A great job through all this. Yep. Okay.
And he just passed the thing for the teacher, right. $500 million.
You got a two-star Admiral Frost over there that just came in. The other two-star that just left, Admiral DeQuatro, another great friend of mine. I will tell you that Scott Bushman, who is the I believe he's the three-star chief of staff for the Commandant of the Coast Guard, was a captain of the base here. A lot of people don't understand that 7 out of 10 of the captains that come to Key West go on to get a star and move up in the Coast Guard. So that'll tell you about the value of the military and the Coast Guard here in this community. The Special Forces School, unbelievable.
So let me ask you a question. How does it go? Is 5-star?
No, 4-star.
4-star. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. So shout out to all first responders. Shout out to the military. You know, doctors and nurses. You know, you never.
Listen, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Bruce Boros. Bruce saved my life, and
man.
You know, I can tell you, I thank him every day, and you know,
he's on you too. He's on you.
We spar all the time, him and I, but we're best friends, and you know, I've been there for when Bruce needed me, and I've been there when Bruce needed, you know, for me, and I've been there for him, and that's the way friends are.
A lot of people coming in on the podcast. Thank y'all. Hit the notification button here. Those of y'all watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I got Arthur checking in, Rosalind checking in, Deborah checking in again from Naughty Vates. Richard Latour, Key West depends on you. Okay, that's nice.
Richie, yeah. That's
John checking in. Xera checking in. I'm sorry I mispronounced the name. What you got, Denise?
I have Andrew commenting. Andrew Morowski, sorry if I butchered that. Mark Rossi will get Key West back on track and heading in the right direction. He has deep roots in this community and knows what needs to be done.
Okay, we thank you for that comment.
Thank you.
Anything else there, Denise, on your side? I'm going to give a shout out. Well, you looking, Don says, I worked for Mr. Rossi since 2002 when I retired from Navy. That's Don Waite.
Yep.
Anything else on your side over there, Denise?
No, a lot of people checking in.
Okay, Sam, thank you. Thank you for checking in. I stay pretty neutral and listen. I like what you're saying. Well, thank you. And that's all we ask, that you basically get facts and listen to what's out there. All love right now. Let me see who else. We got Carlos checking in. Thank you. Bill says Rossi for mayor. Okay, I see something from Richard Guzman. Do you see that one? Denise over there?
We asked that. That one's already been followed up. We do have Christina saying you're going to be a tough act tomorrow to follow. Tomorrow night. Great show.
Dr. Burrows tomorrow. Get into the music. But I think Richard asked another question there. When I'm saying, because sometimes it comes in on my screen, do you have a plan to protect the locals from COVID-19? We are known, our present mayor doesn't have one. Do you have anything on that?
Just to wear a mask and be safe and stay out of harm's way. I don't know if you can protect the locals from COVID, to be honest with you.
It's tough.
It's tough. I mean, You know,
vaccine
it's over,
is the
a lot
only
of
way.
people don't know. It's over in Keys Energy. It's over in a lot of different places. The tax collector's office. You know, these are all Key West people.
And let me tell y'all to be clear, because I've been on this with Dr. Burrows, and every time, thank you so much for all the information you provided here on the podcast. I learned a lot of stuff. So I want to be clear. We're going to have more positive cases. We haven't hit the peak. My opinion, I don't think we're even at 55% of the peak, so there are going to be more positive cases. And don't be alarmed when you hear somebody got a positive test at a business. As long as you follow the protocol, that's all we can do. You have to boost immune systems, take vitamins, and don't be reckless. That's all the thing that we could do. But, we just can't just stay home because we'll die from the economy. We have to, basically meet halfway. And this is what it is. You have to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic as best we can. Ms. Denise?
A great question here. We have David Flynn. Mark, I hear a lot about downtown and tourism, but if elected, what will you do for local families, especially local youth?
Well, I'm going to make sure that the ball fields and Little League football, little football is taken care of and the money's over there for them. Make sure that we have the girls and boys clubs that are taken care of. Make sure the Douglas Gym is opened over there for the kids to play basketball and have athletic ability, because if the kids are having athletics, they're not in front of a computer getting fat, and they're outside breathing fresh air, and I think that's what needs to be done. Keep them busy and keep them away from trouble. And I'll make sure that the fields and the other things, actually, I'll tell you what, I want to see Truman Waterfront become more soccer fields down there. If you ask me, it should have been 4 soccer fields, and I tried to get it down there, okay? But I was overruled by fellow district commissioners, and that's just the way it works.
Mayoral.
But I can tell you, I'll make sure that the water park down here at the end of the street it's not even working right now. There's problems and issues with it. I'll make sure that water park's up and running. The most important thing is I'm going to make sure it's safe.
Okay.
Okay? Safe for the children that are there. The water's tested. It's all working right.
Yep. And let me say this, Mark, thank you for being on the show today. A lot of great questions, and we still have people coming in here, right? Because basically the podcast comes in, and we're going to get
questions.
We're going to get all these questions in, but there's new people coming in. So listen, this is what I want y'all to do. Those of y'all that know me or friends with me, this is all I ask. If you have a question and you're not clear about something, I want you to go ahead and call this man. He's going to talk to you and give you his opinion. And then before you make a decision who you go in, let's get the facts out there. So how can they reach you again?
305-797-0544.
Okay. All right. We have Elijah Tobridge asking, will y'all try to set up a debate with the current mayor on the live platform?
I'm not running from it.
Yeah. We ain't hiding. we right here.
Matter of fact, Louie says the meat and potatoes.
Listen. Hold on. Let me put my glasses on for this one. I keep it blood raw. If y'all want to, y'all can go ahead and fire the mayor up right now. Tell him Louie C said, come on in the live right now. We'll get you on. So today, tomorrow, we ain't running. We never have.
I'm not running, but the mayor's a different person than me. She's
not a bad person.
Not a bad person. You know, I have respect for Terry. I just don't think she's a leader.
Yep. No doubt. Miss Denise, anything else on your side?
We have Heather Lynn Keller. Good evening, Mr. Rossi. Would you do anything different for locals and parking?
Ooh. Oh boy. Woo. Heather, let me tell you something, okay? What I hear the most of from my employees is how much it costs to park downtown. I guarantee you within the first 100 days of my administration as the mayor of Key West, I'm going to lower the parking rates for the locals and make sure there's a sticker so that people can afford to park. What's going on downtown is a crime. And I tried to get a couple parking garages built that would have blended right into the community that are reasonable, but there again, people don't want to do it. And there's ways to do things. But yeah, I'm with you. Parking is a major thing. If a lot of people don't know, but the parking lot that's on the corner of Telegraph and Caroline Street, man, they've been in there, they raised the rates, jacked everything up. There's nobody even parking in there. They towed the cars away. Okay, total disrespect for the locals. I'm going to make sure that parking is right for the locals and reasonable.
Mark, I would say this. I don't want anybody to have to work 3 jobs just to pay the rent.
No, and that's what you're seeing today. And the most important thing is here is you start looking at your windstorm, you start looking at your flood payments for flood, and man, I don't see how some people can do it.
It's crazy.
Because you got to work 3 jobs. The biggest problem I see is what the flood maps are coming out. We got to pay attention to all this. And yeah, global warming and water rise and everything. But if you can't, if you have a home and you have a mortgage, you got to have flood. Not so much wind. So some of the banks are starting to let you not have wind. But if you look at your flood bill, oh, buddy, I know some people are paying $10,000 a year for flood. That's almost $1,000 a month. How can you do that and then make a mortgage payment at $2,500?
Highest cost of living right here in Key West, Florida. You pay for paradise. It's serious. So I'm glad you're addressing these topics, because this is very important how we move the city forward.
I want people to know where I sit. And these are problems, man. Windstorm, flood, these are...
See, a lot of stuff that you brought up, I'll be honest with you, I wasn't aware of a lot of these topics that you brought up, and I'll guarantee you a million other people wasn't aware. So we got to get to meats and potatoes and find out what's going on.
People who have mortgages and are trying to fight to stay in this town and keep their head above water, they're experiencing these things right now. I can tell you, I get the flood bills on my properties in the windstorm, and man, it's out of control. Let me tell you, man.
Miss Denise Lane, what is going on, girl?
We have Bob Perriam asking, will you support your police department?
I always support the police department, and I can tell you that they're out there doing a job that, you're putting your life on the line every day. You don't know what's going to be coming at you, and in today's world, it's a very serious job. And yeah, the one other thing I'm going to say is I support the CRB board here in the city of Key West. I also want to make sure that our officers are sensitivity trained and have more sensitivity towards our people that live here. It used to be at the point in time when we used to know all the police officers in this
community policing.
Yes, and we used to know them. We used to,
Shout out to Lieutenant George Washington.
George, yeah.
That's my man.
Oh, yeah, man. Robert Allen.
But let me tell you something that...
all of them, and we need to get the officers out of the cars and out of the white ivory building over there where the fire, and get them in the streets and get them to meet the people again and make the, like it was when I started out in 1982. We knew everybody, Al Flowers, all of them,
Wow, that's a name for blast from the past.
Steve Hammers, Frank Lalama.
Let me say this.
Derek Dial, all of them, man.
Let me say this. Me and you was at the rally over for George Floyd in Bahama Village.
Yes.
We had a good conversation there.
And what happened there was wrong, period.
Can I say something? So I actually love the way the police department handled that rally, because the chief walked with the people, exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And this would be textbook for anybody nationwide or worldwide to follow that lead. This is lead by example. So we have great people, like you say, here, and we just got to look out for the future. And right now, the future is not looking bright, but I think with what you're saying here, we definitely going to get where we need to be.
Yeah, I mean, training and educating the police officers. And, there's 2 sides to every story I've learned in business. And then there's the middle, okay? And you got to find out where the middle's at. And disrespecting people and the residents of this community is not cool.
Right.
And I see it as a bar owner on Duval Street. A lot of people don't like me, and they say this and they say that. Well, listen, I spend my life, the people that are watching this, the people that know me, I spend my life down on Duval Street, and I know what the game is.
No doubt.
I respect people.
And let me tell you something. I was talking to my friend Joe Walsh today, and he says he spends every shift going over how to deal with the mask situation and how to be courteous to customers. He says if you come in this time right now and you have a bad approach on people on edge or whatever. When there's nobody out here, and these people that you ran off, you ain't gonna have nobody. And then if you come down here, let's be clear, you pay $400 for a hotel room. You come down here and they treat you like dirt. Who the hell wants to come back here?
They're not going to come back here. And I'm not going to name other places, but I can tell you from first-hand experience of friends that I have in other hospitality or restaurant businesses, you know, it's tough. People get alcohol in them. They're hot. They're sweaty from the masks. You know, these masks, you know, cause a lot of heat stroke. We were experiencing a lot of problems.
While the people was working?
Not only the people that were working, but the people that were in the bars partying. They get all hot, and then they get heat stroke. And then they fall out. They hit their head on furniture. They hit their head on cement. And then it's even worse. Yeah. I mean, who was it? Somebody fell today and hit their head and died.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Wow, I didn't hear that. Wow.
Today.
Wow.
Hit their head on the cement
and listen, we want to be part of the solution. We just have to do, you know, common sense or whatnot, because at the end of the day, what's your job, Mark? To go back to your family and arrive alive, just like mine is. Because if we don't stay alive, we don't have to worry about business. So like Mark says, the best thing I'm hearing here is that the man is willing to listen and come to compromise. Talk about cruise ships. The man saying there's not load 10,000 people on the street. We're not saying that. You know, we want to sit at the table.
Too many people on the street for cruise ships is not a good deal for anybody. Let me tell you, when my wife and I go on a cruise, and when we go into somewhere like St. Martin or Cozumel, and you see 5 or 6 ships in there, you know what? We don't get off that ship because the experience is not good. And that's what people don't understand. If people have a good experience here in Key West, guess what? They come back. Right. And they come back here for 3 or 4 days, and they get hooked on Key West. And then they're spending their money at Cafe Soleil. They're going out to Hogfish. They're going over to Chico's. They're going to different restaurants, Joe Walsh's places down on Duval. You know, this is how people come back to Key West, and this is how
customer service is critical. Like for example, Mark, and I come from the school of customer service. I don't tolerate disrespect to the customers. So what I always tell people, if you go, let's say you going into Rick's and you approach a security person on the front and they treat you like dirt, then
they're not coming back.
Right. Then you go to the bartender, ask for a drink. They mix up the drink. Then you ask Duke to play a goddamn song. He said he'll take a request. What's the chance of going back to Rick's? Yeah. They're not going to go there. So be nice to people. These people, you know, pay your salary. And I love to have you down here. And I welcome here for the July 4th weekend. Anybody's coming down, I just say respect the city. That's all.
Respect, yeah.
Put respect on the city of Key West name. Yeah. Miss Denise.
All right. So I just, we've got 2 here that kind of merge. Damian Cook, don't forget the kids, which leads into Aaron Skinner's comment. What are your thoughts on the free PAL program, moving to the new gym behind City Hall, and now charging families over $120 a month for the boxing program? Is there a way we can subsidize low-income families so their kids can join?
That ought to be free. It's keeping the kids off the street. It's giving them athletics. That's what it should be. Okay. So, and I did not know that.
And I'm big. You know, I'm big on youth or whatever in all sports. I got a degree in sports administration, and I'll sum it up very simply for that comment and that question. And I just have one word: travesty. I didn't know this. I'll get on this tomorrow. That's incredible because if we have kids that are going out there to stay off the streets and we can't afford it.
My junior partner Fred Bushy, and he's with me. He's big into the boxing at PAL. Okay?
Of course, I'm big on boxing too.
I did not know this, but I can tell you, Frank LaLama, if you remember Frank,
PAL.
He was very instrumental for over 10 or 12 years. Carrying PAL, making sure that it got to where it's at today.
Aaron, thank you for bringing that point up because me or Mark didn't know that. That's incredible.
I want to take care of the kids and get them out and exercise.
What else we got, Denise? Anybody else? I got, let me see on my side to give a couple shout outs out here. And you tell me if you got anything over there. Richmond, thank you for checking in. David, Heather, Elijah. Let me see who else. I think we pretty much got, good old Doris Arnold checking in from Stock Island, your neighbor over there.
Yeah, Doris. Yeah.
How you doing, Miss Arnold? Nice
How
for
you
you
doing?
checking in.
Yeah.
Damien checking in, and Aaron, like I said, great question. Anything else, Denise, on there?
The last comment is make everyone feel special and they will come back.
Absolutely.
And
One
that's
human
the name of
family.
the game, yeah. We talk about one human family, but we got a lot to go on one human family.
Well, I think we have a crash.
You start singing, you start singling out the bikers, and you start singing, you don't want cruise ships. Who's going to be next? Okay. If we are one human family, then we need to have our arms open and accept everybody and accept them as equal, because that right now is not happening. Okay, and I'm sorry to have to tell everybody the truth, but in my eyes, it ain't happening. When you start telling certain groups of people you don't want them here, well, then you're starting to restrict it, and it's not one human family.
Listen, it was all love today. Thank you all so much. We couldn't do the podcast without you people checking in. We just trying to get information out to people. And like I said, I just want everybody to live, and I want to get back to one human family. But this is far from where we at right now, and this got to come to a change immediately, because right now we're not in good times. I see John here. He's got a comment here that just came in on my side. Denise, it says, like, the sign on your bar sounds like you'll do Key West well. So I guess if somebody don't know, you've seen the sign at the bar. So any closing words for the people watching worldwide?
All I want to say is on August the 18th, you have a choice to make. And that's to hear your voice made. Vote for Mark Rossi. I won't let you down. I'll be honored to be your mayor, and I'm going to do things the right way. So please vote for Mark Rossi for mayor of the city of Key West on the 18th of August.
And those of y'all that want to get, some conversation with Mark, they're just coming in again. Can you please tell them the phone number once again?
305-797-0544. Or just stop down to Rick's and Dirty Areas on Duval Street.
Yep.
I can tell you, if I become mayor, I'm going to have an open door policy at City Hall where people can come over and see me and not have to go through lockup.
That is outstanding.
And I might even do things called Meet the Mayor.
I like that one.
So
meats and potatoes with the mayor. Okay, nice. Thank y'all for checking in. Louie C. the Mayor has been nothing but love. Make sure you guys always check in with us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Production assistant, we couldn't do it with this lady. This lady,
I'm telling you, she's pretty good.
Yeah. Lois Lane cousin, Denise Lane.
Denise Bo.
Yeah, she's doing big things. Thank you so much. Hope to see you down at the Marker this weekend and go pay you a visit. It's all love. And thank you, FloridaKeysInjury.com. Lawyers for all accidents in the Keys. If you have an accident, a moped, car, or bicycle, FloridaKeysInjury.com will take care of you. Locals, like the man said, locals taking care of locals. And also Dr. B, backed up by Dr. Pucci and Dr. Tricks. Dr. Burrows, boy, that's a hell of a character. Advanced Urgent Care, Key West Marathon, and Key Largo. We love y'all. Thank y'all for being on the program. And listen, WEOW, we on to 9 o'clock right now. Go in and check it out on iHeartRadio, and let's get turned up. Hot!